your IP address. Because, the bad guys aren't going to do MAC spoofing or anything, right? It's like they're going to play fair. So, and that's one of the problems, that we have to understand we don't know where these things are coming from. It's like that's one of the biggest weapons that these attacks they have on their side, the anonymity. You don't know where the attack. Well, I've already told you, people will actually rent out platforms in China. It is a great business to rent out those attacks so you can launch the attacks coming from there. That's not from the Chinese government. That's from some guy and stuff, who wants to make an extra, 300 yuan by doing this so he can support his gaming habit. Also, I don't like to just, upset one major nation. I like to upset as many as I can. So let's understand, within the next it's not the next 5 to 10 years that every industrialized nation is going to have a cyber warfare unit. Okay. Every industrialized nation by now has some form of cyber warfare unit. All the cool kids are doing it. We're all involved in that. From UK's Whitehall, that's just now starting up and being public about it, to the Germans creating theirs. The Israelis, it's like in the U.S. you don't really talk about the Israeli Shin Bet very much, but I'll tell you right now, in the 1990s, the Pinjalo petroleum station north of Tel Aviv, they did a pen test there, and they realized very quickly, we need a cyber warfare unit. They also, when you talk about actually using these tools, 2007, Syrian airstrike, Israelis have developed and stuff, and very familiar with cyber warfare. So are a lot of other nations, and including the U.S. It's like they're getting there. They're trying to evolve these. We're still trying to figure out the rules, but one of the biggest problems with these attacks is we're trying to learn with modern-day warfare. We're putting it in the box of tanks and missiles and planes. You cannot fight next year's war with last year's methodology, especially when we're not talking about development of a plane that takes years. We're talking about malware that takes minutes. Vulnerabilities that are released on Patch Tuesday, there's exploit code that following Wednesday. So we have to learn more. We have to adapt to what's going on. We can't keep saying this is what cyber warfare is or isn't. This is what informational warfare is or isn't. It's always constantly evolving and adapting, and we have to start adapting to it, not trying to put it in a box and say this is what it is, and this is how it's going to be dealt with. When you put it in the box, you put yourself in a losing proposition, because the other guy doesn't even see the box. He's just going to keep attacking the way he attacks. So what can we do? Well, we have to start understanding. We have to start creating a dialogue. That's what this presentation is about. We have to start discussing this amongst ourselves. And hopefully we will be able to do that. Hopefully we'll be able to start doing dialogues. Hopefully this will help kickstart some discussions between not just me and you, but also from your coworkers and people that you talk to, and start developing. Maybe we are approaching these attacks differently. Maybe we need to start understanding more about the culture of the people than just the black and white issue of, the hack came from here, so therefore they're out to get us. Let's respond with equal force. I'm done. No more tricks, sorry. I answered everything y'all need to know. Awesome. Oh, question?
You spoke about the problems that are present currently, but what could be a good thing for a country or so to react on this problem that is not only present in the government itself, but also in all the companies. In the US, they spoke sometime about kind of extra legislation, etc.
One of the key things, and that's a good point, is talking about this, the way that we're talking, the businesses are as the ones being attacked, not just the government. And the way I look at it is the castle and moat strategy. Instead of finding ways to go and retaliate and attack the other guys, we need to start understanding how we can do better tracing, better defenses, better capabilities to actually protect our assets, protect our infrastructure. Okay? Worry about, the nukes later. It's like start protecting your infrastructure so it doesn't get attacked in the first place. Start maybe if you're running a national power grid, maybe it's time to move off of Windows 98 maybe. Okay, it's like start developing that. Start developing that infrastructure and start defending yourself and creating that. It's just, the way you have to look at it is the hostile seas. You know, it's like if everything is hostile and you accept that fact that everything outside of your control is out to get you, which is the way I usually live. It's like I'm not paranoid they are out to get me. Is you protect yourself, you protect your environment, and then once your environment's protected and the other guy's protecting his environment, then you create that safe haven. So that's one of the things we have to start doing. It's like start being able to actually do better methodologies of tracing so we can start seeing who's responsible for these attacks, and then also get better inward in protecting our own infrastructure and protecting our own networks, because they're not going to help us with that except for by showing and exposing our weaknesses, which is also helpful but, very costly. Oh, there's one right there.
Thanks very much. This is a little bit off the wall. You mentioned universities earlier, and I work at a university. There may be a few other people here who do. You suggested that perhaps a lot of university people are starting these attacks, and that universities should be perhaps involved in some way. I wanted to make a couple of points and then get your opinion. We do teach information security, and my university in Australia has a whole program. We teach digital forensics. So we teach a lot of our students how to hack as well as how to respond to hacks. It is a problem, and we try to put a really ethical approach on it. We have our students sign confidentiality agreements, essentially, to try to get the point across that this is stuff that's important to keep to themselves, not to be telling their friends about at parties and so on, and that they have to take a professional approach. Speaking myself personally as an academic, I do get calls from governments and businesses and lawyers to ask if I would assist in problems. One of the first things I've learned to do is tell them what my hourly rate is in the first conversation. And also, they don't seem to realize that I have a full-time job. Right. I put in more than 60 hours a week, and I need my institution's permission to do some contract work on the side. So there are real issues here. So that's my spin from a university point of view. I'd like to get your spin on how you think universities might be involved, might play a role, and how we could do this properly. Thanks.
Well, a couple of things. Well, first of all, with the university, you have to look at the architecture. You have to look at the environment. The environment in the university is open. It's very open. We're exchanging ideas. We're not trying to narrow you down. It's like your network's open. You're exploring. You can use the resources the way that you see fit. Some universities have problems with the IDSs or even be able to track back. It all depends on the university. But it is an open environment. And also when you teach hacking, when you teach tools and stuff, when you're going to that level, I look at it this way. We teach young people. We teach 16-year-olds and 18-year-olds, and so it's like, this is how you drive, this is the speed limit, this is proper procedures when you're out on the road. And as soon as you get that driver's license, how many are actually going, yes, the steering wheel, this is where my hand should be, make sure I do my proper levering? No, you want to go out drag racing. You want to go out and you're good. It doesn't matter if it's the technology, it's not the technology. Once again, it goes back to the person. And it also goes back to the culture, and it also goes back to the age. It's like, so universities, like, there's a lot more exploring going on. It's like, it's harmless fun to go and try to take out a friend's computer system. Oops, I actually took down the whole lab network, but, I was just playing. So it's okay. Also, they're victims. When I say a lot of these attacks are coming from universities, it doesn't mean always that the university, the person there is the one that's responsible for it. You've got an open network, so it's ripe for attack. Remember, I'm a hacker and stuff, and I want to commit a crime, but yeah, I want to do that. I don't want to get caught. So what do? I launch the attack from someone else's compromised machine. I want them, the one being attacked. I want them the police to go after, not me. I don't want it being traced back to me. So that's another problem with the universities. They're they've got new students that come in, they don't know about proper network security. They've got their systems open, they're running your P2P software